Supporting questions are the second type of questions that the C3 framework defines. Supporting questions focus on descriptions, definitions, and processes on which there's general agreement within the social studies disciplines. I like to think of supporting questions as questions that nestle underneath the compelling question. They serve as building blocks within the larger inquiry and help students chip away at the compelling question. In this way, they don't simply stand alone, but they serve an important purpose: to help and guide an inquiry forward. Let's start with the compelling question. Was the American Revolution revolutionary? A supporting question might be, what were the regulations placed on the colonists under the Townshend Act? As students begin to think about the revolutionary nature of the American Revolution, they will want to know about the economic interests of the colonists and the extent to which those interests were being curtailed. Knowing about the various acts that were placed upon the colonists helps students understand the nature of the revolution. This supporting question thus moves the inquiry forward. Here's another example. The Smithsonian asked the compelling question, what is John Brown's legacy? In order to answer this question, students would have to take a close look at the raid on Harper's Ferry. Thus, a supporting question might be, who was involved in the raid on Harper's Ferry? Or what happened during the raid at Harper's Ferry? Knowing the individuals involved, their role, and the timeline of events around this key event would help students make an argument about how we should remember John Brown. Again, the supporting question helps propel the inquiry forward. A key difference between compelling and supporting questions is the outcome or the answer. Compelling questions will have students answer in the form of an argument, where they marshal evidence in support of their answer. Supporting questions will have students constructing explanations. These explanations could be in the form of a definition, description, or process. This is a key distinction and an important thread in the C3 framework. We explicitly define two types of writing that social studies students engage in: arguments and explanations. While the Common Core includes a third type, narrative, the C3 framework focuses on the first two, with primacy given to argument. I like to think of compelling questions framing an argument and supporting questions framing an explanation. This thread runs throughout the C3, and you will see it pop up back in Dimension 3 and Dimension 4. To recap our discussions around compelling and supporting questions, let's review. As you remember, compelling questions address thorny problems and issues found in and across the disciplines and are thus intellectually meaty. Compelling questions emerge from students' curiosities about the world and are thus student-friendly. Compelling questions require students to construct an argument in response. Supporting questions, on the other hand, nestle underneath the compelling question and help propel the inquiry forward. Supporting questions focus on descriptions, definitions, and processes where there is general agreement in the field. Supporting questions require students to construct an explanation in response. The development of compelling and supporting questions is a sophisticated process, and crafting these questions takes practice. As you work through your own examples, set a mood. Spend some time just getting curious. Immerse yourself in the content, or better yet, use an object from the museum's collection to spark a compelling question. And remember, curriculum. Compelling questions need to have enough room to hold curriculum content and be coherent enough to communicate big ideas. Once you have your compelling question, use a word web to begin thinking about the supporting questions that would help you answer the larger, more engaging question. In the end, you will want to make some space to be curious and to write questions worthy of inquiry.